¿Qué onda amigos? ¿Cómo están? Yo soy Nate, yo soy un profesor de español y hoy vamos a estar revisando el español de Ben Affleck. Now, if you didn't know, Ben Affleck, famous actor, famous guy, the husband of Jennifer Lopez. I mean, shoot, we gotta review his Spanish, right? There are a lot of cool videos of Ben speaking Spanish online, and I want to say, Ben, you're doing a great job, man. I think it's really cool that you speak Spanish. So yeah, let's jump into the video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, and also let me know in the comments down below who you want to see me review next. Okay, so this is super interesting, okay? I'm reading this. I actually did not know this. This little website says, Affleck has been speaking Spanish since he was a child after learning the language while filming a TV show in Mexico. The project is presumably an episode of ABC after-school special called Wanted, The Perfect Guy, which Affleck started when he was 13. So let's check out a clip. This is actually really interesting.
I don't get it, Mel. How do people get so lonely?
So kind of interesting, right?
¿Qué llevó a tu familia a México?
Mi madre y mi hermano fueron conmigo en México cuando estuve trabajando en un show para niños, se llama...
Okay, all right. Okay, so there's a few things going on here. But his accent's not bad. So she asked, what brought your family to Mexico?
Mi madre y mi hermano fueron conmigo.
Okay, so my mom and my brother went with me. So he made a slight error right here.
Mi hermano fueron conmigo en México.
He says, fueron conmigo en Mexico. He should have just said, fueron conmigo a Mexico. So instead he said, they went with me in Mexico, instead of saying, they went with me to Mexico.
México cuando estuve trabajando en un show para niños, se llama...
Okay, so I was working on a kid's show. So that's good. Yeah, no worries. He said, estuve trabajando. I probably would have said, estaba trabajando, but I think estuve works fine as well. Cool, let's see it. Isn't that cool? I think that's so cool. Like, I got mad respect for Ben because, you know, like, most celebrities, you know, for you to go onto a TV show and speak a language that is not your own, that takes a lot of guts. So mad respect to Ben for going out here and doing this. It's pretty cool. He says, aprende español en México. But what he's trying to say is aprendí, meaning I learned. But small error. He speaks really good, actually. He's pretty good.
Que aprende español en México cuando tuve 13 años.
So then he also says, cuando tuve 13 años. This is kind of a tough thing that many of us Spanish learners face, is knowing when to use the preterite versus the imperfect. So the preterite is the one-time actions in the past, and the imperfect is the ongoing actions in the past. So with regards to age, we use the imperfect because it's ongoing. While you may have gone from age 13 to 14 and that 13 is over, though that 365 days of you being 13 was an ongoing thing. Kind of a weird idea. So anyways, better to have said tenía 13 años.
Vive allá.
And then he says vive allá. So he could say viví allá. Viví, I lived.
Entonces, no tengo un perfecto vocabulario, los verbos, pero tengo acento. Y entonces...
Yeah, actually, like, his accent like, isn't that bad. Like he just said, like, hey, maybe, like, his vocab isn't the best and his grammar, but his accent, like, actually really isn't that bad. Like, I imagine if he spoke, like, Spanish perfectly, besides, you know, like, if he just got all the grammar and the vocab down, you know, his accent would actually sound pretty good.
Estuve trabajando con Ana de Armas. Correcto. Y pregúntala, escucha...
So he says, I was working with Ana de Armas, who's a famous actress. And then he says, y pregúntala, which sounds like he's saying, and then ask her. It's like a command, pregúntala, like ask her. But what he was trying to say is, I asked her, which would be, le pregunté. Le pregunté.
Escucha a mi hija y escucha mi acento y dime cuál es mejor.
Okay, so he said that perfectly. Let's hear him say that again. That sounded really good.
Escucha a mi hija.
Escucha a mi hija, so listen to my daughter.
Y escucha mi acento.
Y escucha mi acento.
Y dime cuál es mejor.
Y dime cuál es mejor. He said that good. That was, you know, hear him say that again.
Y lo que se agradece es el esfuerzo de hablar la lengua.
Ay, no, pues...
Ay, no.
Puesto que sí.
Por supuesto que sí. That's pretty funny. That's good.
Es una lengua muy importante.
Okay, it's a very important language.
También muy gente aquí.
Y también muy gente aquí, which would be wrong. Better say mucha. Hay mucha gente aquí. He said, there are very people here. What he meant to say is there are a lot of people here who speak Spanish, presumably is what he's going to say. So he says, hay más gente que hablan español. Technically, you should say, hay más gente que habla español. That's always one of those weird technical words, right? Because la gente is technically singular, but you're talking about people, which is kind of a tricky word in Spanish.
Vete a Miami, aquí nadie habla inglés.
Really good.
Una película no es una manera de arte arte como otro, como escribir o pintura o algo cuando trabajas solo. No, tiene que trabajar juntos con muchas otras personas, pero
It's so interesting listening to his accent, because in some of these videos he has a more Mexican accent, but here it's very like it's just different. I don't know. It's really interesting. It's interesting, and this happened to me. So I was living in Spain for about 3 months, and before that trip I had a more Mexican accent. But then after the trip I was speaking more like a Spaniard, and now obviously I have the much more Mexican Spanish accent. But it's interesting.
la pandemia estaba la cosa más difícil. Si quiere hacer una película, no es una manera de arte como otro, como escribir o
So he says escritir, should be escribir, or maybe he was trying to say escritura.
pintura o algo cuando trabajas solo. No, tiene que trabajar juntos con muchas otras personas, pero
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, I mean, think about it. I mean, everything he's saying, like, I understand perfectly. He's basically just talking about how a movie is different, right? It's not a one-man show. There's a bunch of other people involved, and I understand that perfectly. So at the end of the day, it's interesting, analyzing people's Spanish and not trying to be critical, but realizing that, look, some of us don't have a perfect accent, some of us don't have perfect grammar or vocabulary, but as long as we can get our ideas across, that's the most important thing. Even if maybe sometimes we kind of get caught up, nos traba la lengua or whatever. It's good. It's really good.
Yo sé que tú hablas español. Vamos a hablar un poquito de español.
Si quiere.
Primero que nada, ¿cuál es tu palabra preferida en español?
Sacapuntas.
¿Sacapuntas?
Creo que sí. Porque no es como not what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It sounds like a dirty word, but it means pencil sharpener.
Exactly.
The rest of them are all palabras malas que no puedo decir, hablar en televisión, lo siento.
So it's right. He gets kind of caught up, but that's normal, right? So he basically just saying these are words I can't say on TV. This happens to me when I speak Spanish. I get caught up. I'm like, this is normal, man. The most important thing is that I understand him.
Yeah.
Pero es una lengua muy linda y muy bonita.
It's interesting because he said es una lengua, right? Like a language. Typically when I'm talking about languages, I'll say idioma instead of lengua. But, I mean, they're interchangeable, right?
Y vive en México por un año.
He says, vive en México por un año, when he meant to say viví en México por un año. Maybe he was trying to say viví, but it sounds like he's saying vive. But that's okay. And then also we saw this in the other video, tuve 13 años, which is incorrect. It should be tenía 13 años. But once again, these are technicalities. Like, I still understand it perfectly.
Y también tengo muchos amigos latinos
Notice how he's like looking off to the side, right? Like it's funny because when you're speaking your native tongue, right, it just comes out. He can make eye contact. There's less thinking involved. But the second you switch to a different language, it really does. Like you really do kind of like think. And man, I do this all the time. Like I'm the same exact way. I'm like, okay, yeah. Like I can't just like be relaxed and normal. I do have to like think a little bit more. Okay, yes. So kind of interesting.
Tengo oportunidades a practicar.
He says, tengo oportunidades a practicar mi español. Better say, tengo oportunidades de practicar mi español. It's interesting. Listening to some of these celebrities that I've analyzed speaking Spanish, something that people will mess up typically is preterite imperfect prepositions, which are those little words like a and de, and then also the gender of words. That's like typically what I see is the most common.
Es la alegría de mi vida.
¿Y tienes algún plato de comida preferido latino?
Arroz y frijoles, o plátano, comida cubana especialmente, pero comida mexicana es excelente.
So right, it's comida mexicano. That's a gender thing, right? It should be comida mexicana. Once again, it's a technicality. His accent's good. I understand what he's saying.
Eso es muy difícil pregunta porque cada país tiene algo especial.
Yeah, so perfect, man. He's killing it. All right, let's see.
Tengo mucho orgulloso para esta película.
Okay, so right there, at first he said it right. He says, tengo mucho orgullo, but then he changed it orgulloso. So we would say, tengo mucho orgullo. I have a lot of pride. I'm very proud. Estoy muy orgulloso.
Porque creo que es una historia muy importante sobre una mujer muy increíble, de historia con quien nadie tiene mucha familiaridad. Y ella era una persona increíble. Y somos suerte a tener la oportunidad.
So he says, somos suerte a tener la oportunidad. He could say, tenemos suerte. You could even say, somos suertudos, but better say, tenemos suerte.
Traer esa historia a la gente, a la audiencia.
That's an interesting one. Audiencia. Better say al público. Al público.
Y también tenía la oportunidad de trabajar con esos dos son muy grandes y la vida es buena.
Especialmente yo.
No, especialmente
Yo, that's sick. I actually know that man naming you some Spanish.
yo.
tú
Tú eres el que manda, ¿verdad, Matt?
What's that?
Tú eres el que
Tú
manda.
eres el que mandas. You're the boss, Matt.
Of course. No.
el jefe de...
Sí. Ella es
La jefe.
No.
I'm the boss. I'm the
The,
boss.
the boss right there is sitting right between you gentlemen. It's
La genia.
Tú
What
eres la
did you say?
jefa.
Genius.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, so at first he called that lady el jefe when it should be la jefa.
¡Hola México! ¿Qué pasa? ¡Hola ya! ¿Cómo están? ¡En el calle!
It's so funny, right? Like, I love it, man. Like, I love that people are, you know, like willing to put themselves out there. I think one of the biggest things I noticed with students that they really struggle with is having the confidence to be like this, you know, to just go for it and, you know, maybe make a fool of yourself. Like right here, he says el calle. It should be la calle. But like, who cares, you know? Like, you know, this is how you learn, right?
Great Spanish.
Gracias. Gracias. Hola, ¿qué tal? I live in Los Angeles. We speak Spanish. Hablamos español en Los Ángeles.
Perfect, man.
Ben, welcome.
Los Ángeles es un parte de México. No lo entiendo.
Okay, he says Los Ángeles es un parte de México. Technically, it should be una parte, but once again, still perfectly understand him.
Lo sabe.
Es nuestra segunda casa, our second home.
Sí.
Well, Ben, first of all, welcome to Mexico. What was your greatest challenge in becoming Batman? ¿Cuál ha sido tu reto más grande de personificar este nuevo Batman?
La cosa más difícil para mí pues el ejercicio, mano. Tuve que ejercitar cada día con las veces. Estuve cansado y también tuve que comer tan mucho de carne y peces.
Very good, man. Very good. Well, there you have it. There's Ben Affleck speaking Spanish. There's me kind of taking a look at his Spanish. Once again, you know, I don't want to be critical of these people because it really is cool and admirable that they put themselves out there and learn the language. So yeah, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you thought he made any other mistakes that you noticed or things that he does good or poorly, whatever you want to say. Bueno, muchas gracias por ver este video. Si te ha gustado, por favor, dale un like y también suscríbete ya para que veas más videos chidos así como este. Y ahí nos vemos en el próximo. Adiós.